Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And welcome to this week's weekly energy boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this morning with David.
6 feet away from me.
6.7 feet away from David. And we are prepared, and maybe it's inappropriate to say excited, but we're very much looking forward to sharing this next hour or so with you and talking really deeply and profoundly about what's going on in the world today. As always, we share in the weekly energy boost the best prescription, the most proactive outlook, the greatest lessons for ourselves for the coming week. And it's no coincidence that this week's energy is asking us to make positive changes on the seed level. We'll talk about how to do that and what the unique opportunities are of this week. And we'll also be looking at your comments and your questions, and we want to hear what you're going through as a result of the different limitations and restrictions put on us by world leaders. At the same time, we're going to understand that those world leaders are really, in a way, marionettes, and the universe is who's asking us to stay home, and what the lesson, what the benefit is in that.
Right. So we're going to give a lot of tips on consciousness to have during this time, because there are a lot of smart spiritual people and business people in this world who realize the opportunity that exists in darkness. So you kind of have to look at it in parallel ways. That two parallel tracks, that there are the things that you must do, that everyone must do to protect themselves, that to protect your family, to be healthy. For sure, you got to do all those things. We want to provide the parallel spiritual track to not forget that there are other things that we should be doing with our consciousness, with our spirituality, with our transformation, to seize the amount of light that is available, because the greatest revelation of light occurs in the most painful of times. And a lot of times people miss that opportunity, because eventually things will be good. And there's a treasure of energy, a treasure of sparks of light. It could be the spark that allows you to have that child you've been trying to have for years. It's that spark of light that could finally unlock a soulmate relationship. It's that spark of light that can finally help your business go to the level it's meant to go to. So we can reveal more light in 1 week than we could in 7 years during dark times like this. And we want to give the tools of how to elevate those sparks of light.
And you may already be thinking in those terms, connecting with exactly what David was saying. If you know people, friends, family, coworkers that are struggling, especially with staying grounded, staying connected, keeping their head above water during this time, share the show with them. Especially while we're live, we have the opportunity to answer questions and feel what's going on with you. This is definitely a show that's going to, the goal is really to help us all elevate above the fog that we feel. It's hard to see the end of the road right now. We want to help everybody get their head above that cloud and see the target so that we can get, like David said, we can reveal everything we're meant to reveal in this time.
Practical thing to think about is the most painful area of your life right now, where you have the most fear, where you have the most anxiety, where you have the greatest lack of control, is actually where you can reveal the greatest miracles if you follow the spiritual steps that we're going to outline. So if it's your children you're worried about, actually the way you act during this time is what's going to bring the greatest blessings to your children. If it's your business that's very painful, your financial situation, how you act right now is actually going to be able to take your business to the next level and draw down those miracles. And we're not talking about like practical business tips and tools. We're not even talking about practical stuff. We're talking about drawing an energy which is going to open gates for you where the miracles will come later on.
Right. And the first message I think everybody needs to hear or rehear, reconnect with, and I've been talking to students individually throughout the last couple of weeks. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? The virus itself is not the why, it's the how. That's, I think, the most important thing to remember. One of the most important things to remember, especially as we try to plant positive seeds and elevate those sparks during this time, is that the purpose isn't the virus. The purpose is, what are we going to do with it? For whatever reason, the universe is saying to humanity right now, you got so far off the beaten path. you need something drastic to get you back there. And so, it's funny because you can even see in the news, different news reports, the dolphins are swimming in the canals in Venice, and pollution is at an all-time low in this place and that place and the other place, right? The universe has basically told us, stop trying to control or stop dominating the other kingdoms. Take care of yourselves. Ease up on the gas in a way, and be focused on the internal. Now, again, as David said, you should still be washing your hands for 20 seconds every time you every so often we still need to be following the prescriptions, because those prescriptions are actually what are helping us get to the why, to get to the internal gift that is in this time, right? And it's funny because I actually, up until yesterday at least, we were in California, we were permitted to go to large natural spaces, right? Like hikes and the beach. So we went to the beach yesterday, and there were dolphins like within 20 feet of the shore. And so my husband and I were talking, like in Venice, the dolphins are so excited that we're not, motor, what do you call it? Jet skiing everywhere, motorboating all over the California coast, that they've come to celebrate with us. Part of what we want to be more mindful of is the blessings and the benefits in what's happening now. And I actually made a list of different ways you can look for your own personal points of growth and benefits. But reminding yourself, the purpose is not illness. The purpose is not shortage of toilet paper. The purpose is not being able to work or people being laid off. That's the purpose is, what are we getting to as a result of it? And being really conscious and looking for that is part of the purpose. Getting back to the original reason we were put on planet Earth is the purpose.
So there are two helpful tips that I can share right now. One is the self-audit that we always teach about in Kabbalah, which is where do I have fears? Where am I reactive? Where am I holding on to hurt and blame and negativity? It's so important to try to do that self-audit to get rid of those vices now, with not just in a reactive spiritual way, to actually decide who you want to be for the rest of your lives. That's going to draw down the greatest amount of mercy, because everyone's looking for mercy and spiritual immunity. Spiritual immunity comes every time we do self-reflection and we make a commitment to change. That's 50% of the spiritual immunity. And then when the tests come, then when you pass the tests, you get the other 50% of the spiritual immunity. And the Kabbalists actually say that when you make a commitment to change something, you're often going to get tested in that area 3 times, because we have 3 main levels of the soul that need to be cleansed. So for example, if a person says, I no longer want to get upset with my spouse, I don't want to have disunity in my home. This is a common thing that people talk about. They have challenges in their marriages or their relationships. So they actually feel the pain and they take responsibility that they want to have unity in their home. Immediately, you draw down spiritual protection and immunity. However, now you have to be put to the test. So something will happen in the days to come that will challenge you at least 3 times to be able to give you the opportunity to draw down the remaining light. Because it's easy to make a commitment to yourself. That's just the first step. It's still in potential. Then you need to be tested. So right now is the time for self-reflection, making personal decisions of how you're going to transform in the areas of health, in the areas of relationship, in the way that you communicate with people, with your own fears. That's the first level of spiritual protection and spiritual tools that you should be doing. That's a basic one. I want to give a business tip, but did you want to add something to that?
No, go for it. I'm fascinated by what you're sharing.
Okay. So as far as with business, which is something that everyone is in pain about, even businesses that are doing well still have challenges and a lack of control, and every day is a new day, creating new situations. A simple and practical business tip is that you should, if you're either you work by yourself, you're an employee, or you have employers, you have staff, is to get together and before the meeting starts to actually ask the light of the Creator, ask this universal force of the Creator to give us the ideas that we need now to innovate and to adapt to who we need to become. And this is spiritual advice, because even though I don't see how this is good, I don't see how it's going to be good. There's so many revelations of newness, of blessings that are available in dark times. All you need to do is shift your mindset and say, I want to align myself with the frequency of the new miracles for my business. And to sit and to brainstorm right after you make that request, to brainstorm with the people closest to you. And what will happen is you open up the reservoir of ideas and you start to plant seeds and you start to become creative and really just be open to all the things that are coming. The people who have done this so far are quickly adapting their businesses, are changing their models, are seeing that by making the effort to draw down those ideas are coming. So the gates are open right now for your business. Despite the carnage that may be happening in your business today, the gates are open for the secrets that you need to know for your business for the future.
And just to give a little context to the new beginnings that we're talking about, this Thursday, Wednesday night and Thursday is what the new moon of Aries. And on the Kabbalistic calendar, that the month of Aries, the month of Nisan, is the first calendar month. Also in conventional astrology, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac.
That's right.
So there's a couple things. We won't get too deeply into it because there is so much knowledge available on the Kabbalah.com website, so many articles. There is one of my favorite ones is actually, I think in 2016, Karen Berg did a meditation for healing the inner child of every sign. So we don't need to redo what's been done so fabulously. But the point, the takeaway at least, is that this is really the beginning of the beginnings. We're starting a new cycle. And to do the kind of introspection that David mentioned before, sitting down and thinking proactively, forgetting about what's going on now, forgetting about what went on before. What kind of business do I want to have? What kind of marriage do I want to have? What kind of social life do I want to have? What kind of family life? What kind of physical, how do I want to take care of my health in a different way? Being able to say to yourself, and part of me, recognizes that being isolated or needing to take that social distance means there's very little to escape to. I mean, granted, Netflix still works and social media still works, but the universe really wants us to sit down with ourselves and say, what needs to change? The good news is that there is this, you're going to start to feel come Wednesday, a wind of change. The universe is supporting us. In the first 12 days of Aries, each one of them is like a new moon. Right. So we normally, when there's a new moon in the week, David and I talk about best practices, setting goals, being the best version of yourself for 24 hours or sometimes 48 hours. This time we're telling you for 12 days, you need to be the best person you can be. And every day has its own opportunities. That
starts Wednesday night.
But that's what, go to the Kabbalah.com website to find that information. It's also going to be on our social
media.
Yeah,
we're going to be posting it everywhere starting Wednesday night. We're not going to talk about the details of these 12 days on our show today, but it will be all over our social media. Make sure you're connected to our newsletter and you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth.
Right. That the details will be there, but the support we have from the universe, we're starting a new book in there's just so much there to give us that backup to toss out the old script and start to write the new script this week. So definitely get online and see what you can, learn what you can about those opportunities.
All right, let's give them, go ahead. You want to
the only thing that before we get into the what to do now, the thing that struck me this morning as I was driving here was the universe has been shouting at us for a long time. And we have this habit as a species of changing, being shocked into change, and then going back to the old us, right? You think 9/11, the world was super different. I might even say for about a year. And then we went back to being our old selves. When the earthquake in Haiti happened, oh boy, did we jumped in and we helped our fellow man and we contributed and we sent water. We did everything. And then a few months later, by the way, the condition in Haiti is still not okay, but everybody went back to normal. We have these modes of triage where we show up the way we're meant to, right? Where we look in each other's eyes and we say hello and we don't take each other for granted. And when we ask our friend, how are you? We actually listen for the response and aren't moving on to what else we have to do in the coming day. We can't, I think that I don't want to see what's worse than this. I don't know about you guys. If we don't get the message from this episode, I'm going to call it an episode, not like a situation, but like an episode on TV. If this is the saga, right, of humanity, I don't want to know what's worse than this episode. I want this to be the worst episode we have to go through. We get the lesson and we don't need it again. We don't need somebody to grab us by the shoulders and slap us upside the head ever again.
So I want to give some practical advice about what you just said, because I think about this all the time. In Kabbalah, we're trained not to base our decisions in life based on the successes of what's happening outside of us. Because if I use my success as a barometer of where I am spiritually, then I become numb, I become asleep, I become reactive. Because if life is good, then I must be good. That's usually how we understand it. If things are good, people are happy with me. If I'm having blessings,
if I got what I wanted,
I must be good, and I'm good. That's it. End of the story. So in Kabbalah, we learn, regardless of what's happening in the outside world, reset yourself. Reset every morning. Reset every night. Do a spiritual audit, because you may be the miracles you're experiencing today may be from seeds you planted 5-10 years ago. So it's an illusion to think that if today is a good day, it's because today you're doing the right thing. You may be totally reactive today and not see it for 5 or 10 years. So what the spiritual concept I want to share right now is, every day, regardless of virus, no virus, who cares about the virus for a moment? Every day I need to look at myself and say, where am I addicted to external energy telling me who I should be and how I should be and what's going on? We need to be the ones who are producing energy, not consuming energy.
And I think a lot of people think, or if you notice, what this is requiring us is we have been part of this machine nonstop, not stopping to think, not pausing to inject consciousness, not questioning our motives or where is this. We run like 90 miles an hour until something stops us. I mean, I think about people that, like, we had a big flu epidemic a few months ago here, and people were like, I didn't realize how busy or how I was so nonstop, or how I was. Okay, you get the lesson, and then you feel better, and you get what happens with the flu also. You feel good for a couple hours. You start to do your thing again, and then it knocks you off your feet again. The idea is that now that we're off the machine of production, of hatred, of competition, don't get back on it. Try to find the new normal in that peace, in that being able to take the time to choose my higher consciousness every time.
Practically what that can mean for us is this whole idea that when I'm addicted to something, I'm a consumer. I'm consuming energy. And in Kabbalah, we learn that the minute you take energy from this world, you're actually disconnected from blessings. It may not look like it at the moment. It's kind of like when I unplug my phone, it's still working until the battery fully runs out, then it's dead. As soon as I take energy from this world, I disconnect. And as soon as I produce energy or create energy through spiritual work, through transformation, through giving in ways that empower people, not just throwing energy out to the world, but giving in ways that empower people, then I become a producer. So one of the audits that I am doing for myself daily is I'm waking up and I'm asking myself, okay, how am I going to produce, not consume energy? Now, we do need to receive energy. We need to buy things. We need to do things. We need love. We need attention. We need friendship. The Kabbalists say that you should take as little as possible to do the work of maximum production. So we have to reduce consumption and increase production. And that's the recipe for miracles. So one of the spiritual concepts I want to share is one of the lessons that we're getting is to examine where we are consumers of energy, where we are addicted to energy. We're addicted to people. We're addicted to socializing, and it's being taken away from us, and it's showing us kind of like the starving energy. And some people are texting me, oh, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm experiencing. And I say, okay, you're sad, then no problem. Right now, we need to look inside of our soul and start to draw energy from a deeper place. We need to start having a relationship with the light of the Creator, a relationship with our soul. This is where we need to receive energy, so we stop taking it from the people.
Well, I think for many people, I mean, the messages that I'm getting, the conversations I'm having with people, is that they're having a hard time with the seclusion, right? And to me, that, there are actually some people that are genuinely afraid, about being sick or about their business or about, you know, their elderly relatives and things like that. But a lot of people, what I see much more often, or I've seen much more often, is inability to sit still, inability to be alone, inability to not be driven by external. And I can give you that for my own personal, I have this, I reflected this week, I have a poor habit of when my house is a mess, instead of organizing it, I go to work. Like in the morning, okay, everybody, like the dust settles from the kids getting ready in the morning, and I look and I say, oh my God, I'm going to go to work. Instead of putting everything away. So that's, I mean, it's a very small example of a way that the universe is helping me see I can choose a better operating system. But the thing is that, you know, you might not look at leaving like I don't know, breakfast on the table or, you know, last night's pajamas in a pile in the living room is something tragic. But what it's reflected for me is I still have some procrastination stuff I can deal with. Or, you know, that for the people that are having trouble being still, what I would suggest for you is get to know yourself better. Find ways to tune in more to who you are, parts of yourself that you've ignored because you've been on the machine, you know, a cog in the wheel for so long that you didn't even slow down to get to know, wow, you know, when I was younger, I used to love singing, or I used to play the guitar, or I used to, you know, run marathon. I don't know, get back to know that part of yourself that you've been ignoring because it's not efficient, it doesn't produce, it's messy, that the universe is in a way asking us to be more intimate with the people that we live with and with ourselves, so that when we come out of this, like David said, we have more to offer. We have more to produce. There is more energy and more resources that we've tapped into within us when we come out of this, so that we're less taking and more giving. And mind you, it may be hard, especially for people who don't live with others or maybe live with one other person. It may be more challenging to find ways to give. I challenge you to reinvent what you think of as giving, right? Giving now may be sharing a beautiful song or an inspiring article or a book, or being able to reach out and connect with people without being able to give them a hug, without being able to make eye contact, without, you know, holding hands or, you know, sharing a bottle of wine. You can share, by the way, you can get on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype and do all those things virtually. But remember that the universe wants us to have some quiet time.
I also want to address where we're unique when we teach Kabbalah is I got people texting me, hey, can you help me donate masks? Hey, can you help me get the hospital gowns? Hey, all of this is great. All of it's great. And there are people who need to do this. And I said, look, you're talking to me about the hospital gowns and the mask, but I know for a fact you're still fighting with your wife every day.
Absolutely.
So my job is to focus on the small part that nobody wants to focus on spiritually, which is I'm not going to be a part of the initiative of getting the gowns and the masks to the hospitals, which I think is important. I think is important.
But there's many more people focused on that than what David's about to say.
Too many people trying to get masks from China to the hospitals, which is phenomenal, and they should be doing it. And I want to know, I want to address the virus on a spiritual level. So I'm talking to my students and saying, look, all that's great, but before you buy those masks and donate those masks, because you can get a false sense of I'm spiritual.
Or I've made a difference.
I've made a difference. It's so important to follow the spiritual steps that we're saying. So here's a second spiritual step. The Zohar talks about plague. The source of plague is evil speech, actually. So the words that come out of our mouth create both positive and negative entities. Any word that empowers, that is adding value, is creating a positive force, a positive angel, a positive bottle of energy.
Oh, we see this in almost every single show.
We say this?
Yes. We spoke about it last week, so keep going.
Well, it's new for me. It's new for me
David
right
wakes
now.
up every day like 50 first dates. He doesn't remember. It's good.
And then the negative words are creating negative entities. And it's so important that we're watching our words to reduce the complaining, to reduce the victim speech, to reduce the blame, and just saying words that are useless and fruitless. That is one way to build protection in your home. In the same way, you're not going to invite 20 infected people into your home and host a luncheon. where every word that we say is an infected person that is entering our home. So there's an infection entering our home when we have negative speech. So watch your words, especially in your home. This is a way to build spiritual immunity. So that's the second.
Not just, and not only with, I mean, words is already a level of manifestation. In the world of holistic and alternative medicine, anger, fear, intolerance, sadness, those are the things that lower our immune system physically, right? We're not talking about a spiritual immune system now. We're talking about if you're afraid, you are literally lowering your body's ability to fight off germs. So even though that fear, I would say the best fear to have is fear that we don't get the lesson that the universe is trying to give us, but not in such a way that it paralyzes us and we feel helpless and hopeless, but in such a way that it makes us do the things. And again, David has his list. I have my list as well. It's in a way, it's better to keep your mouth shut and maybe write it down and then throw it away than it is to, a lot of people say, what I have to vent on a piece of paper. It's a lot better for the environment, for the pollution, but also, as David's saying, for your own protection, to not give those thoughts, those words, those feelings too much energy.
So that's part of what was the third thing on my list, which is certainty, because we talked about evil speech lowers the immune system. Also, the fears and the worries and the doubts about things that are going to come in the future, and regulations and vaccines and monetary issues. The fears are also lowering the immune system, and it's lowering the protection shield around your family. Transforming doubts to certainty beyond logic. It's okay if you don't know what to be certain about. The mantra that we use in the Kabbalah Center is, I have certainty that this is coming from the Creator, and therefore it will be good. And that's all. I'm going to shelve it. I'm going to put it in the certainty box, and I'm going to focus on all the other things that I can do to be a giver, a creator, and a producer. And going back to the evil speech part real quick, what I like to do to replace evil speech is a very powerful tool. It's the tool called thank you. I know. It's the thank you tool. It sounds stupid, but it's so powerful. I walk around the house and I just say thank you. I say thank you to every physical object I see. The more I say thank you, it's like a spear that goes through the heart of the negative forces when I say thank you. And what thank you does is it does something to your soul, it does something to your brain, it does something to this physical reality. You actually elevate sparks of light every time you say thank you. So you say thank you to the virus, you can say thank you to your water, thank you to the carpet. Just constantly saying the word thank you is a spear to the negative forces. It sounds silly. It's you'll see that you're not going to be speaking evil speech, and some energy is going to overtake you. Thank you is the anti-plague. It's the anti-plague, saying thank you to everything. So I wanted to give that as a tool against evil speech.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a list. I think a lot of us we want to share a couple more practical tools that you can utilize during this time. One of the questions I want to put out there, and I'm sure you're going to have something to say about it too, as a way to test, like a litmus test for where you're at versus where you want to be headed in terms of the opportunities you have today. Imagine that we got on the show this morning and we said, guys, we have a confirmed date in which all of this is going to resolve. You'll be able to go out, go back to your jobs, continue to, nothing, no fear, no virus. There's a bomb that will be dropped on such and such date that will eradicate the virus, both from the air and from within us, and things can go back to normal. Let's say we said that date was April 1st. What would you feel in that moment?
April Fool's.
Right, April Fool's. That's I chose it on purpose. What would you feel in that moment? How would it change your mindset? That's how you know how reactive you are in that moment. If I promised you relief from what you're experiencing right now in such and such amount of days or weeks, right, and you felt better, right? You said, yes. Right now, for me, again, getting a little too personal, my biggest fear is going to the grocery store right now because I don't want to have to go 80 times a week because they're out of what I need to make things work in my house. But the reality is we are all waiting for it to be over. And that waiting for it to be over is something that we have spoken about in different episodes before. Not living in the present is actually one of the, I don't want to say worst things you can do, but being connected to what's happening now is the only way to change the future.
I love that. I'm adding that to my list.
Thank you. Thank you. So even though at a moment's notice, this could all go away. I absolutely do believe that it can change in a heartbeat. At the same time, know that if you are waiting for that change, you're not here and now. And in a way that prolongs the need for this condition, for this situation, because we have to get what we need to get from it in order for it to move on.
Consolidating your thoughts and your feelings and emotions to the now is like the new bleach. It's the bleach, because I'm looking at the Clorox
you keep
here.
Saying, you use that in almost every show also. It was humility is the new hand sanitizer. Now it's what?
Humility is the new hand sanitizer. Living in the moment is the new bleach.
Okay. Alrighty. Thank you. Thank you for that.
No, honestly,
It's
because
true.
you can actually see all the negativity go away the minute you focus on the now.
Right. Because now is actually the only thing you have control of. Now is the only time that you can do something. You can't do something on April 1st right now because it hasn't happened yet. The interesting thing, maybe this is a little deep for the show, but the Kabbalists teach that time only exists on the physical plane.
That's right.
Right. We don't need time in the upper worlds. It's not we have time. Time was given to us to be able to measure or chart opportunities.
That's right.
Not because we actually only have 24 hours to a day or 7 days a week, etc. So being able to use time as a measurement of when I have the opportunity to do what is essential for living your life on planet Earth, but it doesn't exist outside of this temporal plane. And when you realize that, you realize, well, it's not about, I have 5 minutes now. Should I procrastinate? Should I clean up? Should I send that email? Should I send that resume? Whatever the situation is, it's more, what is the unique light I can reveal only right now? There is a basket in front of me. My job is to fill it with light. How can I do that right now?
Right, you have to quarantine your thoughts. You have to create a fence around your thoughts, because your thoughts, the negative forces are trying to pull your thoughts to the past and to the future. And every time they do that, they divide your consciousness. And when your consciousness is divided, that's when the spiritual virus gets into your minds. And then your reality ends up being chaos. When you consolidate your thoughts and you consolidate your emotions and feelings to the moment, and you direct that energy and say, I'm going to plant the most positive seed right now. That's what determines my future and deletes any negativity from my past. These are the most powerful people. These are the winners. Every time somebody's talking to me about doing this or doing that, I said, look, you want to be a winner. You want to right now win in your life. The way to win in your life is to constantly employ the tools of success all the time, habitually, diligently, consistently. There's no room for error anymore. There's no room for, well, when can I stop being a winner? When can I stop being successful? When can I just go back to being a consumer? I want to consume energy. I want to die. I want to retire. There's really no more room for that. And shifting our mindset to, I want to be this person that is constantly getting ahead of all the negativity. I'm just planting all the right seeds. I think this is the most powerful thing for us right now.
Can we get to technical positive tools for everybody to, you said you have a list, or you're...
I mean, I've gone through 4 things here. I said be a producer, not consumer, which is overcoming our addictions in this time.
Right.
It can be any little thing that you feel addicted to energetically.
By the way, it may also be more difficult for people for people that have hard addictions. It may be harder to get the goods in this time, and what a huge blessing that is as well.
That's true. It's going to be harder to get the goods, but also you might be running towards some addictions right now. But a pause, strengthen yourself. Strengthen yourself, because every time you have an addiction, your soul gets weak and then your future gets weak. So this is the time to strengthen yourself and to draw energy from your soul, not from external things. We talked about evil speech, replacing our negative words. Stop complaining. Stop being a victim. Stop blaming other people. Stop wasting your words. Replace it with thank you. Saying thank you all day long.
On my list, that looked like kindness at all costs.
That's also good. Kindness through your words.
David uses the words thank you, but for me, recognizing that the universe gave me good reason to be annoyed, irritated, frustrated, critical, judgmental, and my thought was, how's that going to help? How can I didn't say thank you, but I came back with, that was really powerful, well done. Rather trying to make sure that I am, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm thinking is elevating the situation and not bringing it down.
So thank you for me is putting the deadbolt on the door so that the negative thoughts don't come in, and then you transition that to actions of kindness. So I think sometimes people try to be kind, but they have negativity running through their thoughts as they're trying to be kind. So it's very hard. They got this dichotomy in their brain and they're fighting. The thank you for me completely neutralizes the negativity. Then I can move to positive actions like kindness. So I like that. I'm going to add kindness as a follow-up to my thank you. Third thing we talked about is certainty and not to be afraid. Oh, there's so many fears coming. Thousands of fears, thousands of doubts and thoughts. This is what we're talking about, controlling the mind. My mantra is everything comes from the light of the Creator. Therefore, it has to be good. And I keep repeating that to myself. You all should have a mantra. You should have a certainty mantra that makes you feel certainty and internal peace. This is also what neutralizes the negativity. Fourth thing we said, being present. Being present, focusing on the now, quarantining your thoughts so your thoughts don't go running into the future or worrying about the past. Those are the four tips we had. I gave business advice. The greatest inventions are going to happen now. The greatest ideas on a micro and macro level are going to happen now. Don't think that you're just this small cog in the wheel that is not going to make a difference. If you take the time to brainstorm, you will be downloading your new future, your new career, your new everything. The ones who have certainty will get hired first. The ones who have certainty, the ones who follow this list will get hired first. Their business will come back first. The stock market will go up for them first. Remember, stock market goes down, somebody's making money. So if you want to be in that frequency of success, you got to follow the list. Got to follow the list. Right now is the greatest light is being available.
I also think we would be remiss if we didn't add the spiritual tool, whether you are connected to whatever form of prayer, of meditation. David and I often talk about the Zohar, spiritual study, that the actual act of plugging into the light force of the Creator and being a part of sharing it.
Right.
Anything that you do, and when I say anything that you do, the most important work is the personal work that we've outlined for the last 40 or so minutes. The slingshot, as we often say, that will make the light that we reveal in our homes broadcast to the universe is that prayer, is that meditation, is if you're connected to the Zohar, reading the Zohar, sharing the Zohar. Whatever you know, I mean, many people are out there reciting different, every religion, every philosophy has its go-to. Making sure that we're not only praying for ourselves, because I think the tendency is, please God, let my family be okay. Please God, let my business be okay. Now is not the time for exclusivity. Now is the time for inclusivity. The universe, even for if you had the chance to watch any of the Kabbalistic astrologers. Or at Rosh Hashanah this year, our teacher Karen Berg spoke about it, that the universe is, according to the astrological chart of the year, there is an urgency for us as a species to recognize that we are one. Mm-hmm. That I can't drill a hole in my cabin of the cruise ship and expect the rest of you not to sink with me. We are all connected. And this consciousness of oneness is essential for humanity to move forward, the economically, politically. If we remember that I can't, right? I think this is part of the lesson, even in the what's the word? Epidemiology. Forget about it. The virus is that you can't go out even if you feel okay because you might be infecting people. Right. So the idea that you don't even see 2 weeks from now, your actions may or may not have impact is one of the craziest lessons of this whole thing. You can't see it. You can't feel it, but it is out there. So we have also that responsibility to stop trying to only take care of me and try to, actually, our teacher, Rav Berg, used to say, the reason I'm sharing 24/7 is because I want all the light. It's what we call enlightened greed. That I'm praying because I want to be a part of changing the world. I'm doing something nice for my friends, for my family, for the world, because that's going to reveal so much light, and I get the most, I get to bring that light down. So think in terms of how you can expand your desires, your prayers, your wishes, your connections to benefit everyone and not just your own cabin in the boat.
I want to say one more thing. Yeah, our numbers have exploded. I mean, even live now, it's the biggest audience we've ever had. Our Zoom calls, our video calls, everything's streaming. The numbers are greater than it's ever been. And we want to give you a pathway to consume more content. We're going to come out with more content than ever before. Number one, Kabbalah.com is a resource for people to become members. There's free content, there's paid content, thousands of classes. While you are home, it's a time to study. It's a time to learn. You're never going to have this opportunity again. I'm studying all day long now.
Thank God.
Huh?
Thank God we won't have this opportunity again. Let's do what we're supposed to with it, right?
The goal isn't to become learned scholars, right? The goal is to learn and apply and go out into the world. Right now, it's the learning phase. The application phase will be coming soon as we have to go back into the world and deal with people and deal with challenges all over again. But right now, strengthen your consciousness through learning and through study. Kabbalah.com, Kabbalah1.com, O-N-E, Kabbalah1.com. Especially if you are an advanced student, take Kabbalah 1. You've never taken Kabbalah 1 like this. It is one of our deepest and simplest classes that we have on a professional masterclass platform. Sales for Kabbalah1.com have also gone up. We have a discount for our show. What's a discount?
WEB30. It's on the screen. You can, if you're listening on a podcast and you don't have the link, you can email us at energyboost@Kabbalah.com. We can send that information to you as well.
We have Kabbalah 1 and 2 on the masterclass with all the teachers from all around the world. It's so good. It's honestly the best thing we've ever created. And the third thing is make sure you're signed up for our newsletter on Kabbalah.com. We're going to be emailing you. We're going to be sending you content of how to prepare your consciousness for this month and live real time things that you should be doing to be plugged in. So we got a lot of powerful things to give you right now.
Right. And as always, or perhaps even more than ever, we are reading your comments, your questions. Last week we got so many emails. Admittedly, I haven't gotten to answering all of them yet, but please share with us. Share with your friends. You know, if you've gotten something from today's show, you can share, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, IGTV. You can share anywhere you get your podcasts. We are there, and you sharing helps. It really does make a difference. Yeah, we have
more shares now than we've ever had. So share this show, get it out to more people. Our audience is growing, and we thank you for that.
And we'll be back. Hopefully, all goes well. We'll be back
Unless
next
there's
week.
martial law, we will be back here next week.
Right. We are blessed to be able to share in this way because of you, basically. And I, on behalf of David and I and all of everybody behind the scenes over here, we want to thank you for continuing to be a part. And make sure that you check in on Kabbalah.com in the coming days also for the 12 Days of Aries updates so that we can be on the same page and really be creating new pathways, new. I mean, imagine that come, let's say, April 1st, the world is a completely different place for good and forever. Yeah. That's really the goal. The sooner we get the lessons personally and collectively, the sooner we'll see that. We'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.